We've risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 557. I am your man behind the microphone and your Scholars of Wrestling party champion. I am Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, as always, the OG Undisputed Scholar himself. He is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how we doing tonight, sir?
I am just cluttered with mixed emotions with how this week went in the world of professional wrestling. And hopefully by the end of tonight, things will hopefully be a lot more clearer and a lot more organized and actually know how to feel on all of this. So I am excited to see what we're going to talk about.
Oh, yes. There's been a lot of unprecedented events this past week, and we're going to get to them all. But first, I would be at a severe disadvantage if I didn't bring in, last but certainly not least, you know him, you love him. He's probably owns more hats than you. He is the one and only Scholar Pete. Scholar Pete, what's the good word, sir?
As I live and breathe. Hello, gentlemen. I come to you half in shadow and half in light because that's how I've been feeling lately on the Scholars. I lost my beloved party championship. I lost my beloved Scholars championship because of a wheel. Not because of the actual match. No, no, because the wheel decided, Pete, we're going to make you remember why you hate us. And you did. But, gentlemen, I, like Scholar Jeff, would be remiss if we did not talk about how much rage and fucking frustration I have over Monday Night Raw and the greatness that is AEW. All hail Tony Khan for this episode of Scholars for me. Because, gentlemen, that's where we're going to be talking about, and that's where we're going to be going. So back to you, Scholar Jeff.
Damn, spoilers. Why don't you let us know how you really feel? Shoot.
And I was just going to connect with Jeff's intro and saying he has a lot more hats than me, but damn. I
Uh,
don't know. I wasn't expecting that.
I don't
I
think I've
let me
got.
t- this week in wrestling. Let me tell, like it literally made me so mad. Like it, the fumes out.
It's
It,
so much he's going Madeline Kahn on us, and I absolutely love it.
and then you have
Good reference.
you have the chef's kiss, the Rocky Horror Picture Show of wrestling with a great main event.
So who's the sweet transvestite?
Yeah, Pete, who is a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania in this little analogy of yours?
From
Obviously
Do go
was,
on.
right?
transsexual Transylvania.
Welcome to Scott of Horror, the inaugural episode. But yeah, this was a wild week in wrestling. We're gonna break it down, starting with a little segment we like to call Backstage News.
I was gonna keep going. It just basically it's like, oh, it's
And the
gonna be
bit, Tarek, and the bit.
gonna be just uh Rocky Scholars of Wrestling show or just something to that effect, but I couldn't think anything so last minute. So I'm just gonna go ahead, peek behind that curtain, see some giant creepy fucking mouth in the intro of Rocky Horror Picture Show and just saying, I don't even know why I'm here right now, love. I'm just looking at this half naked men, half naked women, and just thrusting all around. And it's transsexual Transylvania. And I'll just be like, no, no, this is backstage. This is backstage. This is where all the shit happened. And in this corner of backstage news.
News.
News. News.
I win. I got awkward silence for the win.
Save us, Meatloaf. Save us with a non sequitur, please.
Rocky.
Ugh. But
I
all
love it
that
when we record us three. I mean, our shenanigans abound. I'll tell you what.
And I probably just like turned off so many people watching the episode. Like, if this is what they're going to talk about, click. What else is on YouTube?
You know you want to like and subscribe. This is the content you get here on the Scholars of Wrestling show. But in
Random
all
madness.
relative seriousness, we do have a lot of things to talk about, not the least of which the breaking news from probably early at the earliest point in the week. We got an update on one Sheamus who has apparently left WWE, seemingly the latest recipient of a pay cut, and has since chosen not to re-sign his contract, as now as of earlier this week is now officially gone from WWE. I don't know about you guys, but this one was a real shocker to me. I thought Sheamus was going to be yet another lifer for WWE. Yeah, I know he's older. Yeah, I know he's been sort of injured and petering down, but still, like, I've I did not expect this from Sheamus of all people, who just seemed like such a workhorse for WWE for so damn long.
Fella. I mean, let's start with just the rage that I have for WWE right now. You are going to take a superstar like Sheamus and do what you did with the New Day and reconstruct the contract and basically be like, I'm sorry, you're not worth this as much. You're not as big of a draw. WWE is falling into an issue where it's clearly, if you're not fucking CM Punk, Roman Reigns, or fucking Cody Rhodes, get the fuck out of our company. And it's absolutely absurd. You are starting to become the latter WCW, where it was just legends and big guys. I mean, we're going to get into Monday Night Raw, which I have my opinion, so don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very heated about this week in wrestling, if you couldn't tell. But at the end of the day, you have Sheamus, who was just Jeff. You were correct. A workhorse. I mean, put on great matches. Hell, he was on the last Monday Night Raw with John Cena, walking out with Rey Mysterio, John Cena himself. What an honor to be at the end of John Cena's legacy and just have you with him at the ramp holding the. It's a moment, and Sheamus to be not even like considered to get the Intercontinental title, to become a Grand Slam champion. It's absolutely appalling. And they did this with the New Day. They're doing it with Sheamus. And if you're not young and hungry where you have a family name, then what do you have to show? And if they continue to do this, I'm sorry, but I feel like WWE is not going to like survive because you have these loyal it fear this Sheamus release makes me worried about the Miz now. I think the Miz is a lifer, but if Sheamus goes, what happens to the Miz? I love the Miz. We all love the Miz, but what has he done lately that has, besides the Danhausen? I understand the Danhausen. I'm not hating on the Danhausen, but after the Danhausen wears off, where's he going to go? What's going to happen? Is he going to? What is WWE doing? And with Sheamus, I really hope the best for him. I know he's going to find work, and even though, yeah, he is much more on the latter half of his career, I still feel that he could put a banger after banger after banger go into AEW, get back with Cesaro and form the bar. Like the opportunities here could be numerous for him. I hope he gets everything he wants. All the best to Sheamus. Scholar Tarek, though, I'm dying to hear what you have to say about about Sheamus.
I will say, when it came to the announcement of Sheamus, uh, like the whole his contract negotiations just went to shit, and he's not re-signing, and his contract is ending. I even said on our chat asking when this contract is over, because I'm hoping, as Pete brought up during his rant, about at least giving Sheamus the Intercontinental Championship. at least one go with the Intercontinental Championship, just to have him be the first superstar to complete literally everything that you can do in WWE. He would pretty much become an undisputed superstar in WWE if he actually got the Intercontinental Championship from all winning every single title available, winning the King of the Ring, winning Royal Rumble, winning Money in the Bank. So I'm just like, have him finally just have that complete set. But he's been trying to go for that Intercontinental title since 2020, and 6 years later, they weren't able to give it to him. And it was reaching that point where I was even questioning, like, okay, I know he's a lifer, but can they just give him a bone? Because nothing lasts forever. Something could have happened. Something could happen. And it just, unfortunately, it was just never meant to be, unfortunately. And it hit even harder a few days later because all of a sudden I'm looking back and I'm just thinking, wow, I remembered back in 2009 when Sheamus debuted in the revitalized ECW brand and how his feud with Goldust was the big highlight of that. Jeff remembers.
I do remember that. I'm like, okay, yeah,
That was
up and
always one
coming
thing that you and I
new
talked
characters.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're like
and
that Sheamus guy. Okay, this guy looks promising.
like he goes into the main roster, wins the title with another one of those guys who wins the title within his first year in on the main roster, which sadly is just a thing that's just a thing of the past nowadays. And now here we are after everything he's been through, everything he did, everything he accomplished. And I'm just thinking, I am super proud of everything he was able to do. And I'm just completely heartbroken that he wasn't able to win the Intercontinental Championship. That was just something I was really rooting for him for. And I I think he's fully capable of going really anywhere he wants, whether it be TNA, whether it be AEW, whether it be hell, people even talked about the idea of him being a new face of New Japan, which would be fun, but I'm not 100% convinced he'd go to Japan. I would love to see him. I think he would be I think he would go through that with flying colors with that kind of style of wrestling. But wherever he goes, I'm full support. I can't wait to see what he does, and I'm still going to continue being a big fan of him. And I'm just hoping that maybe one day he might be able to just do one more quick run and just win that Intercontinental Championship and then finally go into the Hall of Fame. Because there's no shadow of a doubt he's a Hall of Famer.
He is. And sort of a double-edged sword that I think will actually end up working in his favor in that regard is that I'm not entirely convinced that he is going to wind up in AEW. Not that he's disliked, but we've been seeing a lot of reports out there recently that, yeah, Sheamus is absolutely well liked and is certainly talented enough, but the general consensus is he's just another WWE guy, and the the pool is ultimately full over at AEW, and it would be probably wouldn't be the worst acquisition, but it wouldn't be the best either. Me personally, I think you got it already. I think he would be better applied somewhere else, specifically New Japan. That way, if they want to do like a one-off partnership again with him and Cesaro during like a Forbidden Door or something, it's optional. It's entirely possible. But as far as just the AEW main roster, I think Tony Khan has just gotten a little bit too gun shy after stuff like Miro and Malachi Black and all that stuff biting him in the butt. I just don't see him going to AEW, but other than that, I would totally agree with you. Everything else, the world is Sheamus's oyster. Whatever he wants to do at this point in his career, the door is open to him.
I completely agree with the big pool of AEW and and I would love to see him go to New Japan. It's just the question on whether or not New Japan can actually afford him, because who knows what he was even asking for when he was negotiating his contract. And I just don't want to see him in TNA because of their partnership with WWE. They might as well have just thrown him into like Ring of Honor for WWE.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he, at this stage, he absolutely knows his worth. I'm sure he's been pretty good with his money lately, which, again, as long as he's getting some sort of gainful employment, I'm sure that there's no shortage of financial opportunities for the man. So until we find something out for more certain, we'll just keep an ear to the ground, and because eventually he's got to pop up somewhere. There's no missing that man in a crowd. But
Well,
speaking of missing men in crowds, as we were referring to earlier, we also had some very shocking revelations on this past week on Monday Night Raw, where we thought we were going to get Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. We did not get Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. We got something else instead. Who would like to tell me what we got instead?
Well, I would just like to say that to quote to quickly just say my piece on Sheamus. Sheamus will always be one of my favorites to watch, and I've always liked Sheamus because I was always tanner than him. Moving on to what we got for this horrendous Raw main event. You're welcome, Scholar Dark. Um, you have the Cody Rhodes being, oh, you're not medically cleared. Oh, we're in Chicago. Oh, CM Punk, CM Punk. You knew what was coming. My problem here is very simple, gentlemen. You have been slow. You like to take your time with things. You like to not rush things. Look at the Bloodline storyline with Cody Rhodes. You don't like to rush things. So I understand you not pulling the trigger on Sami Zayn because you want that big moment. And oh, we all thought WrestleMania, Saudi Arabia makes sense. Boom. Big things here. But now you have Punk coming. He's not going to lose in Chicago, and it's a way to put a boo boo on a little problem that shouldn't have been a problem. The fact is that Sammy went in and lost being the undisputed champion after going for it for so long. After I think it was what, 9 days?
9 days,
Horrendous.
correct.
Horrendous. Horrendous. I'm not, and then for Punk's first match, just to get a title shot, like, again, it brings my argument back to with Sheamus and everything. It's okay, Punk, we need it to be Punk and Cody. How can we get the belt off of Cody? Oh, we'll have Sami Zayn win. You could have thrown anybody. Why would you take that moment from Sammy and not build it up for something later? It just irritates me that it's okay, big marquee matches. I'm not saying you're not in control of what your shareholders and everybody want. But at the end of the day, you don't do a disservice to Sami Zayn by giving him the title for just so you could give it to him. Then why the fuck wouldn't Sheamus have won the Intercontinental title? It baffles me and it disgusts me what WWE is doing with their talent, how they're treating talent that isn't freaking, if you're not an A-list top tier, you're scum to us. Scholar Tarek, where you at, buddy?
okay. It's I appreciate the story they really went for with this, with us going into Raw thinking, all right, so the world title, the WWE champ, stop sending me stuff. The WWE championship is on the line. Sami Zayn defending against Cody Rhodes because of Adam Pearce taking a complete shit on Sami Zayn and saying, "Oh, what makes you think you're going to SummerSlam the week before?" So that's gonna be an issue I'm gonna talk about in a little bit. Um, Instead, they have us open with Raw. Cody and Sammy are talking backstage, and then all of a sudden, Gunther attacks and shuts a car door on Cody Rhodes' head. First, beforehand, power bombing him through a table, calling Sami Zayn a fluke champion, and just now you watch out because I'm now coming for you. And the story in the middle of Raw is whether or not Cody can actually compete, which they announce he cannot. And you have Nick Aldis saying, "Oh, I have a replacement in mind." And of course, we're in Chicago. We know exactly what's going on. The crowd knew exactly what was going on. And exactly. CM Punk, Pete's quiet chanting. But yeah, of course. And then you CM Punk and Sammy and CM Punk put on a really good match, a really good main event for Raw, which leads to CM Punk hitting a haluva kick and GTS to get the win. And now he's the WWE champion, which it's inevitable that they're going to set in stone Cody versus CM Punk for the championship for SummerSlam. Again, I appreciate the fact that they made it a story long or show length story that they have for the narrative point for Raw. It is better than Cat just Cody wins, LOL, but that's still possibly on the table considering we're getting them at SummerSlam. Uh, I guess just the only real issue I have is just it's not the fact that Sami Zayn's title reign was just it's not the fact that it was just only 9 days. People are transitional champions. People have short title reigns. It's just the matter of what you do with said title reign. And I've seen a lot of people online comparing this to the Darby Allin transitional reign of having only a 39-day title reign. And I'm just going, you honest, it's impossible to compare the two. I mean, on paper, when you think, oh, uh, a Sami Zayn title reign versus comparing to a Darby Allin, on paper, it actually kind of makes sense of just two guys of the smaller caliber, but it's just what the title reigns were doing. And while you have one of them putting on, I believe it was seven title matches against different superstars and putting on
Yeah,
just
with
fantastic matches.
with Darby's title reign, yes, it was brief, but then the comparisons barely hold up there. Like,
Oh yeah,
again,
exactly.
yeah,
And now you
the
have
quality is way too is like night and day. You want to talk about transitional champion? That is absolutely Sami Zayn to a T. Meanwhile, with Darby Allin, yes, his reign was relatively brief, relatively being the operative word here, but he still had title defense, title defense, title defense in absolute banger after banger matches, no pun intended. But yeah, even under the slightest of scrutinies, this is totally than what Sami Zayn ended up with. You just cannot compare
exactly,
the two.
exactly. And just going back to the like people's comparison, it's like, well, again, it's what you do with it. And the difference with Sammy is he never had an opportunity to do anything with it. He had a couple of fun backstage stuff, like with the Kevin Owens and Becky Lynch. That part was just so sweet. And him swinging the title on a swing while he's also pushing his kid. I'm like, those are fun, tender moments. But when you actually are having him on the wrestling show, one, he's being the like a heelish character and not trying to have Cody and Jay fight for a championship. That's fine. But then to have Adam Pearce come in and basically say, "Oh, what makes you think you're going to SummerSlam? No, no, we're getting a number one contender match, and you're getting a the title match is going to be next week because I don't think you're good enough to have be a main event of SummerSlam. So it's just thank you for completely shitting on your talent, and that's just his title. And then he loses to someone who just came in. Granted, people argue it's like, oh, it's just because he wasn't prepared for it because he was prepping for Cody and then gets punked. But it's still just the fact of you were already completely shitting on this title reign in the just to begin with, and then you're ending it with this. So it just that's the part that really irks me the most. And when people are comparing it to Darby's title reign, and I'm just going, it's a completely different story. And then there's this one moron that just be like, well, which one is being talked about more? And I respond to them going, dude, this was the next day on Tuesday after the Raw. And I'm like, this thing just happened literally the previous night, while Darby Allin's title reign was 2 months ago. People are going to be talking about this now. And then their argument is like, oh, wait a couple of months and see, and just it's still going to stand. They're going to talk about this more. I'm like, well, what they're really going to talk about is Darby Allin's title reign was an absolute phenomenon of a time, while people are talking about Sammy's reign as like, oh, he was champion? Oh yeah, I guess he was. Huh. He's just going to be nothing more than a, oh yeah, he was champion, was he? Wasn't he? That's going to be the discussion with this. And it's really sad to hear. And or really sad to see. And it's really sad that people's response to this is just brain numbingly stupid that I'm looking at this more as just, I'm just disappointed. I was even saying, as I was saying last week, I was expecting this title reign to be just being treated as a joke. And when you know it, it was just that. And people are asking, "Oh, give it time. This is going to be Sammy may have lost here, but they'll have him come back and give him the title, give him another title shot or something." And I just go, there are reports that higher ups in WWE are not seeing Sammy as a quote unquote main event player or a money bringing guy. So I would love to be optimistic and think, oh, he'll get another title chance, a title shot, or maybe even another title run in the future. But I'm being realistic. I don't trust don't trust WWE to actually pull through. I'm thinking, oh, this could actually be a good idea, but they're just not going to do it because WWE is just going to WWE, and our opinions mean jack shit to them. So, as much as I was getting back in, it's still giving me another reason to turn back out. And I'm still going to be invested. I like CM Punk. I'm more intrigued of what they're going to talk about, what him and Cody are going to do for the next few weeks. Hell of a lot more than fucking Roman and Seth Rollins world title match. And that got announced as being the main event of night two of, oh man. And it just makes me look back at the LA Knight promo that was on this Raw and how he's just going, no one gives a shit about this. And it's the funniest thing. He's absolutely right. The audience doesn't care about this. You have this extremely long and annoying Seth Rollins promo on this week. You got the setup for it last week. And you have both situations where the audience does not care anymore. No one cares about the Shield days anymore. And that's what they're going. And it just makes it look okay. Well, these characters that I'm trying to see them get invested, they may have different character traits, but it still goes back to their Shield days. That's all it is, and it just makes us feel like we're going a few steps backwards in storytelling.
Shout out to
Because
LA Knight though.
oh,
I
And
mean,
that honestly, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that I believe is the big clincher here. Like, it's the way I read that. Again, your mileage may vary, but the way I read that whole Seth Rollins promo, it just seemed like he was just needing to fill time. It's not that people didn't care about the Shield. It's that twofold. Number one, he didn't really say anything of real worth, nothing to really like get invested in. Number two, like at this point, the Shield is done and dusted. There's really no more ways, in my view, that they can really capitalize that on any meaningful way anymore. So
oh,
that by the time LA Knight swoops in and he basically put probably one of the better LA Knight promos in recent memory. Just putting everyone on blast, calling it like it is, and just finally getting the chance to like maybe making me believe, at least for a few moments, like, okay, maybe this is what catapults LA Knight beyond all of this nonsense.
He needs to win
Oh,
Money in the Bank.
I sure hope that he does something.
and with what you said, Jeff, about just how it's the shield is dusted and how when I said that no one cares about the shield, it's no one cares about the shield right now. We are the audience doesn't really care about that anymore. This is a brand new audience, a brand new series of kids that may have some of them may have grown up with the shield, having the shield stuff be their childhood memories. But we're now at a new age where the audience just doesn't care. The new that we want people are wanting Oba and wanting to see these new superstars wanting to come in and actually make an impact. I'm not saying LA Knight's a new shiny toy. I mean, he's in his 40s, but as much as I want to be on that train with you, Jeff, and say hopefully this gets him something, or what Pete's just said about him winning Money in the Bank, I don't trust WWE to actually benefit from this. And you said it. LA Knight put on one of his best promos in recent memory. He got the crowd. He woke up that crowd. He woke them up. He got them invested after Seth Rollins was boring them to sleep. LA Knight comes out and they're just like, yeah. And they're listening to what he says. Yeah, LA Knight, LA Knight. I'm loving this. And then it's like, okay, I'm excited because I love LA Knight. I love to see him actually going up and get talking smack with one of the people going for the world title and think looking back on what he had his rivalry with Roman Reigns during his reign of terror. All goes back is WWE has put me back in the position to where I don't trust them anymore, and I really hope I want to be proven wrong, but I'm just not convinced that they're actually gonna go while the iron has been reheated for LA Knight.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong here. I am I've got extremely little faith in that they're not going to capitalize it. What I do have faith in is the capacity for WWE to be really, really stupid, to the point where they can be so stupid that they'll actually end up tripping over their own feet and stumble across a correct solution or a correct booking decision almost entirely by accident, which this could fall under the purview of. And again, this is the one thing I will differ with you on. It's not that I will disagree with you in the sense that there are people who still do care about the Shield. I know this because I was in the crowd at WrestleMania 40. As soon as the Shield's music hit, there was a huge reaction. People still care about the Shield. The kids got the YouTubes nowadays. They know the Shield. The problem, the way I see it, is that oh, the way is really in the way that Seth Rollins executed it. Like, hey, yeah, remember the Shield? Wasn't the Shield great? Like, you're not gonna do anything with the damn Shield. You're just dropping member berries at this point. It's just like it's rehashing the past without really capitalizing it on any meaningful way, and people know it. That's why people aren't really digging in. And when they want something new, yeah, technically, LA Knight is an older dude, but one thing he is he may not be new, but in the main event picture, he can be fresh. That's the key difference in my mind. And yeah, there has been a lot of stop starting with LA Knight. We all know this. Is it likely? Probably not. But after that promo that we saw, I don't think it's totally impossible. And if you're a fan of LA Knight, that's kind of a blessing and a curse because it keeps getting your hopes up, keeps getting like, okay, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is a time when they finally give him like some sort of major push or something. But whether or not he ends up being the next Shinsuke Nakamura or the next LA Knight remains to be seen. But I hope that made sense.
You know what makes more sense is for us to do it right. We've mentioned the man's name too many times and not finished it. We're talking about L.A. Knight. Yeah.
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 There.
I
Did we do a good thing there? Did we do a good?
it's gonna again, WWE they've had their get out of jail free cards for the past couple years, and they ran out very quickly, and now it's back to a point where I can't rely on them. It's once again it's the reason why I keep saying it every week that I just am not watching them live anymore. I mean, I started watching the highlights again because again, we have CM Punk and Sami Zayn, which I know will put on an absolute banger of a match. We have this LA Knight promo. I just can't get I watch it, but I can't get invested in it because I don't trust that WWE is actually gonna take advantage of this. And it's really hard for me to think they're gonna get really anything right. I mean, fuck, man. Again, Roman and Seth should not be the main event of night two. Honestly, I think Punk and Cody Rhodes actually just right now they have the better actual story going into this. This one is, as you put it, Jeff, Roman and Seth is just nothing more than member berries.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, don't get me wrong here. I can see where, just because I see where they can go with this, doesn't necessarily mean that the chances are strong that they will. So I will completely agree with you on that point. But again, thankfully, it's not like there's a really worthwhile alternative out there that can really give us some really exciting developments and exciting title changes that make sense and lead into a greater narrative. Oh, wait, there is, because we live in a timeline where AEW exists. Thank God. Because,
We're done
yes,
talking about the poop. We're done talking about the poop.
he says with great mirth and excitement in his heart, because, yes, not only did we get a new title on that show, but we also got a new champion on AEW Dynamite because Kenny Omega did indeed defeat MJF to become AEW champion for the second time in his career. I admit I was a little worried at first, but these two men put on an absolute banger. We got a second title reign for Kenny Omega, and with that, the main event of All In was locked in. It's Kenny Omega defending his championship against Will Ospreay. Reactions, Pete, Tarek, I can see you dancing in your little thing there. Just like lay down some fat beats. Give me some grooves.
Let me tell you about the greatness that is AEW television, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what a wonderful company. If you want your poo smelling fresh, let me tell you the Febreze that will get you out. None other than the cleaner Kenny Omega.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
No, let's be serious now. Um, what a matchup. What a bout. What moments. You knew it was not looking good for MJF when you spit in Will Ospreay's face. And you had that little fiasco. You had it where he was going to hit him with the ring, but oh, nope, here comes Will. It painted, honestly, not to be very biblical or anything, but it painted Kenny as the god of wrestling versus the devil who is MJF. And then you have the little angel slash demon in Will Ospreay coming down the middle. And it was just an incredible bout. And I don't think we'll have arguments from you gentlemen, but it blows my mind that this man is 30 years old and still putting on great matches with anybody he works with, delivering promos to the top of his ability. I'm talking about MJF, obviously, but in all fairness, great worker, great just makes everything bigger. And with Kenny, just V trigger after V trigger after V trigger to end it and get that 1, 2, 3 to see the passion because it's clear as day that I don't think Kenny Omega wrestles after 2026. And that's just the reality of the situation. I think he is getting all of his final kicks in. You have a great match with him versus MGF. You know for a fact, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see just an absolute classic match, you have Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay in Wembley. Come on. That is when I think AEW, those are the stars that I saw because y'all remember when Kenny Omega was trying to get bought by WWE, y'all remember the bidding war with Will Ospreay. But you have Will who literally remember doing a promo saying shooting shots at Triple H saying like I go on a 10-hour flight to the UK 10-hour flight every week because I love what I do. I love working with the people I do. You see the heart and the passion, the dedication, and what does it bring out? Great stories. What does it bring out? Great wrestling. What does it bring out? A great product. Do you see where I'm going with this WWE? You have, yes, and I'm not comparing the two this drastically, but a Kenny Omega versus CM Punk in a championship. But you have, okay, great, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. Oh, Cody will win the belt again. Right, I love Cody. We all love Cody. We're sick of the Cody show. But you have Kenny who's on the resurgence of his career, putting it all out there, having these amazing matches. So much so that almost getting defeated by the great Saber, where I would have retained my Scholars of Wrestling Championship. But the wheel, I'm getting ahead of myself, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. At the end of the day, for All In Wembley is going to be an incredible show. And the match that we got on on Wednesday was just a fantastic from both wrestlers. I love MJF. I will always be a big fan of MJF. Kenny Omega, and then with Will coming in, oh, oh, greatness. But my burning question is, Scarlet Heart, what did you think?
I honestly don't know how to even top that one, but one thing I have to point out, one thing about the show on Dynamite, not just one title changed hands, but two titles changed hands. Uh, on Dynamite, we had Kyle Fletcher beating Takeshita for the International Championship, which that's a fun one on its own. It's nice to see Kyle Fletcher have something that's not the TNT Championship, although it is kind of sad that Takeshita had to lose that championship really quickly. Um, but to Omega and MJF, I don't know what really else to add other than just this shows why these people are in the main event. They're fighting for the world championship. They're putting on these great matches. And for all the people that are just saying that there's no story in AEW, it is just unbelievable. Just it say you're not watching without saying you don't watch. And hopefully this will do great. This will bring up the ticket sales for Wembley, which I'm pretty sure it does. Now we have a main event really set. Uh, and then we have Mercedes. I'm sorry. Mercedes Moné going against Tekla, maybe. Now, or could possibly be Willow Nightingale, a returning Willow Nightingale after winning
Nice to see
the
Willow in the back, by the way.
It is nice. Now it just brings the question, do we actually think we're gonna have Willow versus Mercedes at Wembley, or are we still going to possibly have Tekla versus Mercedes? Both of them actually kind of work, but it's just, do we want to have the? I guess we can say have Mercedes is a heel net is still a heel. Have the heel versus heel with Tekla, or face versus heel with Willow. Um, and that's just talking about Dynamite in general now. I like. I wish they could have done more with Mick Foley, other than just him talking about his shoes and trying to interview Kyle Fletcher. Uh, but other than that, it was a just a very it was a very fun AEW Dynamite. I'm glad that Ciampa won. Too bad he's not going to win the feud. But overall, there are negatives, but at least I'm actually invested on all that is happening. Everything feels important. Everything feels connected. Doesn't matter where you are in the ranking wise, you are just as much could possibly be a world champion. You feel that the superstars feel important. The entire ensemble feels important, other than just a select few. But overall, yeah, it is a complete night and day on just once again, we this people can look at now at this MJF title reign that he had for what did they say it was? 45 days? Or am I mixing up the days with his with the Darby? Darby was 45 and MJF was 39. But overall, it's in those same area, and people say, "Oh, that's just another person being just a transitional champion. This hurts MJF like it hurts Sammy."
Not
And
at all.
not
Not,
again, not at all. I think MJF having a transitional reign is not going to hurt him. Hell, fuck, man. John Cena's title reigns, one of them doesn't even last the night.
I was gonna say,
So
I guarantee you half of the people who are posting that kind of stuff, yeah, we're veterans of the Attitude Era. There were title changes all the time, but
exactly.
it was also at the right time for the most part, with the right reason, right motivation. It kept everything fresh, and no one looked the worse for wear. This same thing applies to AEW. Look at what we're talking about. We're talking about MJF of all people. MJF is friggin' Teflon. He's the king king heel of Jerk Mountain. He's fine. You need a consistent heel to for the baby faces to fight in the main event scene. It's MJF. He's going to be just fine. It does not even compare to any of that. To the point where like that is so laughably stupid that I'm not even going to bother dignifying that. Like, and honestly, that's one thing I like about AEW as a whole right now. They're not paying attention to the critics. They're just staying in their lane and they're just being steady after week after week after week. They're consistent week after week after week. And that's when WWE drops the ball, the word of mouth is going, oh yeah, AEW is still putting on banger after banger. Their storylines make sense. They're way better than they were 3 or 4 years ago. And then that's how they grow. That's how they win. And
And
especially
I just I love their custom entrances now. This one very Bash at the Beach-esque
that
in
again, I
Clearwater,
love
Florida. That was
that was
just
a great
awesome.
setting. I love that. It was very WCW Prime. I enjoyed it very much. It was great variety.
Let me
Hmm.
let me tell you something. I would be remiss if I didn't mention my girl. Of course, Tekla, not losing it until she faces my other girl, Mercedes, Mamone. But in
I'm
all
picking up a little
seriousness,
reverb there.
thank you, thank you. In all seriousness, I urge people to watch the Jeff Jarrett Ariel podcast where he literally like was asked the question like, what do you think like Like, what do you like with the wrestling business? And Jeff Jarrett's like, Tony answers to Tony. Like when Vince ran the show, Vince answered to Vince. He goes, Tony answers to Tony. He don't have to answer to anybody. He goes, WWE, they have to answer through all these different medias. I said, but at the end of the day, Tony has a vision. And like you gentlemen have said, he is sticking to that vision and it's paying off because the wrestling fan is invested with your product and earning to see what you do next. Because again, I know you gentlemen are wondering now that MJF lost the belt, I can't wait to see what he does. What will his character do next week? Where will we get invested with him this next week? Because you know we are going to get invested with the other storylines that we've been invested because it's just a spider web. Everything interconnects with AEW and it's a beautiful thing. God, I love AEW. It is poop that's not poop. It is the Mr. Clean of wrestling.
Okay. I
Don't worry, people. We're going to be cashing in those checks that Tony sent us the day after tomorrow.
What, yeah, what do you think we're doing this for because we love wrestling or because this is a what do you think is a hobby or something? No. We're clearly getting paid 50 cents per comment by Tony Khan. That's right. We're getting paid a whole $5 for all this good reviews that we got for Dynamite. So,
A
yeah,
dollar an hour.
not we know Tony Khan, he spares no expense. But all that being said, those are our thoughts for this past week of wrestling. The highs, the lows, and the painfully mids. But
The
now,
shameful thing.
lobster head.
Lobster head.
Careless
Careless
man,
Man
man
will
who
bake
can
some
bake some
bread.
bread.
is something, something, too
Too
many
many pies.
pies, too
Too many
many pies.
pies.
Yeah,
Stella.
you know what? Before we go, I just do have to say, give this anecdote. I know that so many of us were there when it happened, but back in the day, back when the Hooters and sports bars of the world still aired pay-per-views every single month. I gotta tell you, for those of us who were there, I think they called them blast zones. Am I remembering that right? Well,
Don't
I
know.
still remember when we went to Hooters to eat wings and watch wrestling pay-per-views, and it was great. And whenever it was getting on in the night and Sheamus was about to come out, it was, of course, time for dessert, of which we ordered too many pies, too many pies. And of course, at that time, I believe Hooters did actually have peanut butter pie on the menu.
Yes.
It
Mhm.
was fantastic. It was dope. But now with the release of Sheamus, I know I got a little nostalgic. I went on the Hooters website, I looked at their menu, and lo and behold, no more peanut butter pie. And as a matter of fact, no more pies, no more pies, just cake. And with that is the end of an era, and we want to know what you think of the end of said era. Where is Sheamus going to go next? How do you like these segues? Are you on board with AEW yet? No matter what you think, let us know all across the internet and join the conversation yourself. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, or you can join in the conversation with us all over social media. Where can you find us on social media, you ask? Well, don't you worry. All you need to do is just check us out in the link in the description box below for our link tree. That's linktree/Scholars of Wrestling for everywhere you can join up with us and join in the conversation. Exhale.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe because we're going to be bringing you even more wrestling content, more wrestling discussion every single week because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're
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 welcome.
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 Hopefully, your favorite is in the next to get released. Bye.